welcome. It's good to see everybody here today on Tax Day, April 16th. Living in Minnesota is already a very high tax state, as many of our residents are finding out. But under DFL control, it's getting even harder for Minnesota families. Let's be clear about the record. Democrats took an $18 billion budget surplus. The money that Minnesotans worked hard and earned through very prudent state government at the time when the Republicans led the Minnesota Senate, and they spent that, every single penny, and then they raised taxes by $10 billion. As a result, Minnesota is less competitive. We've dropped down the list from 42 to 44th in the nation. And when you compare growth of the state spending to the growth of the state population, the difference is simply unsustainable. That's what our graph is showing here today. It's no surprise that Democrats' tax and spend budget leads to future deficits, yet they continue to push even more tax increases. This year, they proposed new taxes on social media and advertising. They want to extend the sales tax to legal and accounting services that we use in filing our taxes and making sure that we are putting our estates in order. They demand a fifth tier of income taxes and offer a new statewide property tax, and even a constitutional amendment that raises sales tax for housing. While Minnesota families are struggling with groceries, with housing, and with gas, Democrats' answer is to keep reaching deeper into your pockets. In contrast, we're seeing a relief at the federal level, thanks to federal changes. Americans are getting some of the largest tax returns that they've seen in years. Average refunds are up 11% this year, and sitting around $3,500 nationally as the refund for families. Nearly half of all filers are using a new deduction, or 1 in 4 are keeping more in their tips and overtime pay. Yet here in Minnesota, Democrats still are opposing these federal changes. The simple reality is this: it is too taxing to live in the state of Minnesota right now, and Democrat spending is making life less affordable. Rather than address the root cause of overspending, let's right-size the budget. Democrats are dedicated to finding more and more revenue, pinching the budgets and pockets of every Minnesotan. We believe there's a better way. We should control spending, eliminate fraud, and prioritize the core services to our citizens. Minnesotans actually need this. It's time to stop making life more expensive and start making Minnesota more affordable. Now I'm going to send this over to Senator Jasinski to talk about some of the ideas that we have on making life more affordable for Minnesotans. Senator Jasinski.
Thanks, Mark. And I don't have any notes because it's pretty easy to talk about what's going on today. Just an example. So I've been in local and state government for 33 years in my hometown of Faribault. This last Saturday, I went in the grocery store and I got stopped 13 times to talk about affordability between license tabs, fraud, property taxes. People are getting overwhelmed with taxes. License tab fees in Minnesota are crazy. When we had the majority back in 2017, 2018, we prioritized transportation money with existing funds. We used bonding money. We captured an auto parts sales tax. We didn't tax people. We had just as much investments in transportation than they're trying to now. I'm all for investing money in transportation and roads and bridges, but we don't need to keep taxing people. In the House, there was a hearing. Representative Lugar Nicolai suggested quintupling the license tab fees. Now, my license tabs fee on a one-year-old truck were $1,050. That's outrageous. And if you look at the cost in Minnesota, what it costs to own a car for 5 years, $3,520. Look at our neighboring states. Representative Tabke said that Minnesota has one of the lowest license fee tabs. Does it look like that to you? These are on a new car over 5 years, and Minnesota is outrageously high compared to our neighboring states. So we need to prioritize our efforts to put roads and bridges at the top of our list and use existing money to fund our roads and not keep taxing people. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Crewen.
Thank you, Senator Jasinski. Senator Michael Crewen. I'm going to talk about property taxes today. For too many Minnesota families, the cost of home ownership has become simply unaffordable. And high property taxes are a major reason why. County leaders warned Democrats loud and clear that their massive spending spree in 2023 would drive up property taxes. And the Democrats did it anyway, and it did drive up property taxes. And the result is exactly as we predicted. Unfunded mandates, overregulation, unsustainable spending coming out of the Capitol here in St. Paul have forced local governments to raise property taxes across the state. Now Democrats want to pile on even more pain by creating a new statewide property tax that would cost some homeowners thousands of extra dollars every year on top of the already high local property taxes that they pay. We have a major housing crisis in Minnesota. And in part, that's because people are staying in their homes longer than they otherwise would because moving up is too expensive. And that leaves fewer affordable homes for first-time homebuyers. A statewide property taxes that hits larger homes will further exacerbate that problem. It puts the American dream more out of reach. It makes it more expensive for young families, working people, and also harms seniors who have built equity through home ownership and often are on a fixed income. Republicans believe we must stop the cycle of unfunded mandates and reckless state spending that gets passed on to the local taxpayers. We need to right-size state government, reduce regulations, and give local communities breathing room instead of constantly forcing them to raise taxes. Property taxes should not be the default piggy bank for St. Paul, for the spending addiction that comes right out of here at the Capitol. Minnesotans deserve affordability, not another tax increase hidden in their property tax bill. This tax day, Republicans are sounding the alarm. Democrat policies are making life in Minnesota too taxing for many of our families. It's time for a new direction focused on spending restraint and real relief. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Senator Johnson.
Well, thank you, Senators Jasinski and Crewen, for that. Today is a tax day, and Minnesotans across the state are realizing exactly what the impact is to their pocketbook of Minnesota and federal taxes. And this is an opportunity for us to come out and demonstrate to Minnesotans there is an alternative way. There's a better way in Minnesota, prioritizing the affordability of Minnesotans' lives. And that's what we stand for, and that's what we're fighting for every single day down here in St. Paul. With that, happy to take questions on these proposals.